Welcome back to Core Essentials Peak Performance. I'm Dr. Jess, and today I'm going to take you on a journey to understand how fitness is really all about making your daily life easier. Let's think about that for a second. Now, in life, we have all sorts of stressors that are put onto our bodies. It could be something as simple as going to the grocery store. You're going to have to pick up that heavy bag of groceries, put it into the cart, transfer it to the car, bring it inside. Then, what if you have that overhead shelf? You might have to stand on a stool, push that weighted item overhead, put it away. It could be something like running to catch your kid across the street when they're not supposed to. It could be something like going on that trip and you are on a cruise and you are now walking uneven grounds in the middle of Europe. All of these types of stressors that you put on your body are ones that you want to be able to do without it being a struggle. You want to just live life and do it. So how can we think about fitness and exercise and really how it's just going to be supporting all of these everyday movements? So that's why in this video, I'm going to break down these movement patterns that we do during the day and how it can correlate into functional exercise. So let's start with the basics. Lifting a bag of groceries, for example. In this activity, what you're doing is you're using the muscles on the back of your leg to lengthen as you go into that forward bend to pick up the groceries. Your core is going to activate. As you put the bag into your hand, you're going to be activating muscles in the front of your arm, your biceps, your quads, the muscles on the front of your leg, your glutes. All of those are going to help you then return to that standing position. So there's a lot of complex movement patterns that are happening with something as simple as lifting a bag of groceries. So if we think about translating that into how we work out, well, if we do repeated deadlifts, it's going to repeat that same kind of forward bend motion, but you're going to be doing it repetitively and weighted with good form and control, and you're going to keep your body strong in that kind of movement pattern. This is something that you can use easily with like putting mulch out onto your yard or doing heavier yard work, and you do that repetitive forward bend. Keeping the muscles strong in the gym just makes it so much easier when you're just out in everyday life doing stuff. Adding in the arm motion with the forward bend, it just directly translates to, again, everyday life. When are we forward bending in everyday life to not also have something in our hands that's weighted? We're going to forward bend to pick something up, to transfer something from one location to the other. So if we work out with a forward bend type of workout, which is a deadlift, and then load the muscles in our arms with weight at the same time, it directly correlates to how we live life. So that's why functional strengthening is going to be so much better with just keeping your body balanced and prepared for what comes up next. So now let's break down more than just the basics of everyday life. Let's talk about an example of going on a vacation. So you want to go in the summertime, go for a hike, maybe go to some European city and walk around that whole old part of the city for hours on end. These are examples of going outside of the normal daily routine. You want to be able to do that without even second guessing, can I do this? Can I navigate this uneven ground of this hike that's uphill, that's considered to be strenuous in my guidebook, but I really want to see this viewpoint? Or if I'm this old city and it's going to be a 3-hour walking tour to see all of these cool museums and churches and all sorts of uneven ground and steps that are included in that, you want to not think about, am I physically capable? You want to think about, hey, what's around the next bend? Like, I wonder what's in that at the end of that museum. I wonder what that art piece is. You don't want to have to stop and think about, am I capable? You want to just enjoy it, which is why if you participate in exercise that's functional in nature, you'll always be ready. So an example is cardiovascular training. So if I want to be able to go on that hike or walk for hours through that city, it means in my everyday fitness routine, I need to add cardiovascular training. And what does that look like? It could be going for a walk, going for a run, getting into the pool, getting onto an elliptical, a rower, a combination of all of these depending on what your interest level is and what you have access to. But the concept is in the activity, your heart rate's going to elevate. When the heart rate elevates, your breathing rate starts to elevate. This is going to put the workload on to the heart and to the lungs. the more that you train the heart and lungs to be able to deliver more oxygen to the muscles that are working, then it becomes more efficient at being able to do that. Which is why if you start that walking or running program, it's kind of hard in the beginning. You feel like you're out of breath. You feel like this is no fun. I don't want to do this anymore. However, if you stick with it, especially with doing interval training, where you take that break every so often, so do something at that elevated heart rate for 30 seconds, and then decrease the heart rate for a minute, and then elevate it for 30, decrease it for a minute, and then kind of go back and forth like that, you'll add that workload and give your body time to adjust to the workload. So the goal for cardiovascular training is being able to do a sustained activity for 30 minutes straight, minimum 30 minutes, and doing that consistently, ideally over the course of a week for 150 minutes. So that looks like 5 days a week at 30 minutes, or if you do longer durations, 45 minutes or an hour, then you just wouldn't have so many days per week that you would be doing that cardiovascular training. But think functionally, what you get out of participating in cardiovascular training not only is heart health, lung health, improved cognition, improved mood, all of the great improvements that we get, but you also are preparing yourself for everyday life. So you can chase your son or daughter if they're running through the yard. You don't even have to think twice, can I keep up with them? You just school them like every parent should. Hey, listen, I'm a parent. I get it. So now the big picture is that everyday life includes loading our bodies with weighted activity in all sorts of different ways, whether it's on vacation, whether it's doing school pickup, whether it's doing home maintenance, all of that's going to require us having strength and endurance, because we also need to be able to continue doing that activity. So the combination of requiring strength and endurance, which comes from that cardiovascular system, is how we want to think about our overall weekly routine of movement. So we want to have the balance of cardiovascular activities that you enjoy and that you like. It's not something that you have to do because somebody told you to do it. You're doing it because it's activities that are going to directly support you in that everyday life. And that strengthening routine, which ideally is about 2 to 3 days a week of movement patterns that will help you function. So it could be anything that's related to step ups, squats, being able to do overhead presses, but combining these together so that you're having to stay stable while you're doing the activities is also going to be a big part of how you strengthen. The real answer is consistency. When you stick with this kind of routine, you will see the benefits in everyday life. It just isn't a quick fix. Over that first month of making the switch to how you incorporate movement into your everyday life, that's the hardest time. You're not moving as well, things are more difficult to do, but then once you get through that first month, it does get easier, and it starts getting to the point where you actually enjoy it and you start putting those challenges on because now you actually want to grow with it. So you've just got to get through the first month, and I promise it gets easier. Now, if you don't really know exactly how to get this all going for you as an individual, well, I created a course. In this course, it's actually a series that will help guide you through how to think as your own personal driver in your fitness success. That way you don't have to rely on anybody else. You don't have to rely on personal trainers or friends or family that are helping to set up, smaller workouts. You will learn how to think about putting you first, whether that's your cardiovascular health, whether it's all of the different muscles in your body. You will understand how to build whole body circuits, how to build out your routines that are cardiovascular, how to progress all of these, and how to incorporate unstable surfaces to get that many more muscles firing all at once. You'll be the driver of your own routine. So click on the link below if you'd like to check out that course series. I promise you'd be the driver in your fitness journey.